Hello everyone, I'm Jenny, your IELTS teacher. In this video, I'll be sharing some sample answers, useful ideas, and phrases for this IELTS speaking part 2 topic. It is describe an area of science that interests you. If you're going to take the IELTS exam this November and December 2020, this topic might come out. So it's good that you have ideas on how to deal with this topic, right? So let us begin, and please read with me while I'm reading the sample answer. Before that, let's get to know the complete topic first. Describe an area of science that interests you. You should say what it is, when you knew it, how you learned it, and explain why you're interested. So there are many areas of science, and it could be physics, biology, psychology. You can also talk about anatomy or the study of human body, or astronomy, the study of planets in the solar system. So it depends on what area of science you are interested in, okay? So in my case, in my sample answer, I chose to talk about human biology. So let us begin. Please read with me. Well, I've learned a bunch of science subjects when I was studying. However, the most interesting and fascinating would have to be human biology. It's the study of physiology, behavior, and characteristics of the human body. If my memory serves me right, when I was a freshman high school student, I hated that subject so much because I think it was too complicated. However, when I reached university and I enrolled in nursing, I've learned to love it because my professor was a smart woman. She was very intelligent, and it seems that she can talk about anything and everything under the sun. She made our class fun and interesting. There are several reasons why I think human biology is fascinating. First off, I get to learn many things about our body parts. The complexities of the human body, including the functions and how they work together, are simply amazing. I can say that the knowledge I obtained in human biology helped me in many ways. Secondly, the practical learning which I can relate to and apply right away is extremely beneficial. For instance, there are certain foods that I should avoid eating before going to bed. Otherwise, I'll have a hard time falling asleep. I'm talking about chocolates which make us hyperactive. Since chocolate boosts our energy, it's hard to sleep at night when your energy level is high. Those simple knowledge, in my opinion, are very helpful to me. Last but not least, I think it is significant in my career as a nurse because I was able to apply the learning I've learned in human biology. I can explain to my patients well why they are feeling sick because I know the various concepts or reasons behind their condition. So I guess that would be all. Thanks for listening. So since most of my students are nurses, this sample answer is basically made for them. However, if you're a person who is working in the IT industry or you have a different job, you can also use this sample answer, but you'll just change, of course, this part. For example, you are a website programmer. Last but not least, even though I'm a website programmer, but since I have kids, I think learning human biology is very helpful to me, right? So you can change some ideas here. Now, let us take a look at band 7 to 9 expressions. For you to get band 7 to 9 in IELTS speaking, it's very important that you speak fluently. It is a must. It is the priority. So that's what you need to remember the most. But aside from speaking fluently, of course, you also have to use complex words or idioms. And what are them? The first one is a bunch of science subjects. Instead of saying, I have learned many science subjects, many is too simple, right? So try to replace it with a more complex word bunch, a bunch of. If my memory serves me right, so this is an expression which you can use if you're talking about the past. It just simply means as far as I can remember or as far as I can recall. Alright? So this expression is quite simple. So let's try to use this instead. If my memory serves me right. Every time you're talking about the past, try to include this expression even if you clearly remember it. Why? After all, the IELTS examiner will not verify. She will not ask you again, are you sure you can't really remember it? No, they are not going to do that. Okay? They will just take a look, they will just listen if you can really speak English well. Okay? Now let's move on. The next expression is she can talk about anything and everything under the sun. This is an idiomatic expression. If you review the IELTS band descriptors for people who needs to get band 7 to 9, there is you have to use idiomatic vocabulary. So I recommend that you try to use this expression. All right? What does it mean, by the way? If you can talk about anything and everything under the sun, it just simply means that you're a smart person because you can discuss about any topic in this world, right? You can talk about biology, you can talk about entertainment, you can talk about other sectors in society. All right? For example, I love talking to my friend because I can talk about everything under the sun with her. I can talk about my problems with my boyfriend. I can talk about problems with my family. I can even talk about my business plans. So I just love talking with her. Okay? So, yeah, this is an idiomatic expression that would be of great help in boosting your score. Okay? Now the next one is knowledge I obtained in human biology instead of saying knowledge I got. So got is too simple, right? You will get a low score for that. I recommend you try to use I obtained. Extremely beneficial. It just simply means very beneficial. Very helpful. But very is too common, right? You will get a low score for that. For example, instead of saying he is very handsome, this is actually very common. You might get a low score for this. I recommend you can try to say he is incredibly handsome. He is extremely handsome, right? So very, replace it with extremely or incredibly. Instead of saying this is very delicious, try to say this is incredibly delicious. Alright? Now, what are the other useful expressions here? Last but not least, instead of saying finally, which is a very common discourse markers or expression or connective, try to say this expression instead. Last but not least, okay? Chocolate boosts our energy. Instead of saying chocolate increases our energy, try to use this word instead. Okay? So aside from using these useful expressions, this useful vocabulary, try to speak fluently and confidently as well. They go along together. Okay? Now, let's take a look on part 3. Please read with me. The first question is, what's the best invention in the past 100 years? Well, I think different people have different answers to that question. Personally, I think it is the smartphone. It is very helpful because it makes our lives more convenient. We can buy things on the internet, do banking transactions online, and we can also communicate with our loved ones using our phone. It seems that almost everything is just a click away. Alright? So this is part 3, and in part 3, you have to give 3 to 4 sentences, and you have to give a more detailed answers. Giving 2 sentences only in part 3 is a no-no. You might get a low score for that. Okay? So try to give a more detailed answer. Right? So, yeah, in this case, I said it is the smartphone. For me, it's the best invention. Other students, they told me it is penicillin. Other students, they told me it is the light bulb. That is why I said different people have different answers to that question. Right? So just sound natural and you should be fine. Okay? Now let us continue to the second sample answer. What's the influence of science on human life? I guess I would have to say that science is very influential on human life, mainly because it changed our lives significantly. For instance, the invention of the light bulb allows us to do many things even at night. If it was not invented, I think our activities would be limited. However, science can bring harm too. It can also bring negative influence because there are some chemicals invented by scientists that are harmful to human health. Okay. If you notice, the sample answers has two ideas: positive influence and negative influence. Now, I recommend if you get questions asking you about influence, asking you about the effect, the impact, you can either talk about the positive effect or positive influence, or the negative, or both. In my case, I've decided to talk about both positive and negative. Okay? So that you can use, connectives like this, however. All right? Now let us continue. The third sample answer: what can individuals do for scientific research? Well, honestly speaking, I think we can't really do anything for scientific research because, first of all, we are not experts and we are not scientists. If the research is useful, then I try to apply the findings or suggestions in my life. For example, its conclusion is saying that I should not eat a certain food. Then, as a normal citizen, I should avoid it because it can help me to avoid diseases and prolong my life. But if you're asking me if we can do anything about it, no, I guess we can't really do anything about it. So that would be my answer, okay? Now, you don't need to agree with the question all the time. You don't need to give a positive answer to the question all the time. You can also disagree. You can also give a negative answer, just like what I did here. I think we can't really do anything about it, right? So, if you find this sample answer useful, you can definitely use this, okay? I'm just sharing the sample answer to give you more ideas. Now, let us continue. The last question, please read with me. What influence can international cooperation in science bring about? In my opinion, I believe that global cooperation is influential in science. And it is mainly because if countries or governments will help each other, I think some crucial problems can be solved. For instance, the issue about hunger in poor countries can be fixed if scientists from other countries will unite. As the saying goes, two heads are better than one. Now, for you to get a good score, it would be better that you paraphrase. For example, instead of saying international cooperation, you can use global cooperation. All right? So, there. You can also include some sayings, just like what I've done here. Two heads are better than one. So this is a saying, this is like an idiom, which means two heads, it refers to brain. So if there are many people thinking, planning, making up some solutions, it's a lot better than just one person alone, right? Work is faster, it's more efficient if there are many people working together. This is what the saying means, okay? So, anyways, I think that would be all for today. If you have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to comment down below. Okay? Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye!